Welcome to the Grace Totem podcast. Thank you for tuning into this episode. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel and drop that like button. With no further delays, let us dive into our next topic with our hosts.
Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever had that little niggle of doubt? Someone tells you something, maybe asks for a hand, and you just, can't shake the feeling that something's not quite right.
Oh, definitely. We've all been there, I think, trying to figure out if we're getting the straight story.
Yeah, it's like, it feels fundamental, doesn't it? Trying to work out people's real intentions.
It really is. It's a core part of just navigating the social world.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And for this deep dive, we're tackling that exact, tricky business lie detection, nonverbal communication, all that stuff.
And we've got some pretty interesting sources lined up.
We really do. Research digging into the science of spotting lies, articles exploring what our bodies might be saying, even when our words aren't.
And that Reddit thread, too, right? About the stranger asking for help.
Yes, that was fascinating. Such a real-world head-scratcher. So the big question is, I guess, how can we get better at discerning truth without becoming totally cynical?
Right. And how do we balance that healthy skepticism with, wanting to help people who might genuinely need it?
Let's dive into the research, see what it says.
Okay. So our goal here is really to give you a clearer picture of what the science actually tells us about detecting deception and the role nonverbal cues play or maybe don't play, and how our own emotional intelligence fits in.
And crucially, why it's so much harder than we often think it is.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
that's the first big takeaway, isn't it?
It really is. The first thing that jumped out at me was just how often we get it wrong. Like, only 54% of lies are accurately spotted.
Yeah, that statistic really sets the stage. It's basically a coin flip.
A coin flip. That just shows how unreliable our gut feelings can be, right? We really need to look deeper.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is how many of the things we think signal lying, well, the evidence just isn't there.
You mean the classic stuff. Like, I always thought if someone avoids eye contact or starts fidgeting a lot.
That's what some researchers call psychological folklore. These common beliefs, the stuff you see in movies.
Yeah.
Study after study shows they just aren't reliable signs of deception on their own.
So all those intense stare downs in crime dramas where the suspect looks away.
Mostly just drama. The science suggests it's more Hollywood than reality. In fact, research shows that even professionals, like police investigators, people whose job involves spotting lies,
Yeah. They must be better at it.
they don't actually perform significantly better than the average person.
Wow. Seriously.
Yeah.
All that training and experience doesn't give them a big edge.
The data suggests not a significant one, no. And that goes for other popular ideas, too, like micro-expressions.
Oh, right. Those really fast facial flickers. I thought they were supposed to be giveaways.
Well, there are courses claiming to teach you how to read them, but the research hasn't found that training consistently improves lie detection accuracy.
Really?
Yeah, one study even found people trained in it scored below chance levels.
Below chance? You mean the training could actually make people worse at it?
That's what that particular study indicated. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. So it makes you wonder, is there anything nonverbal that actually gives us a clue?
Well, the overall conclusion from the research seems to be the signs are faint and unreliable. It's quite humbling, really.
Faint and unreliable.
Mhm.
Okay. But surely there must be something. Any nonverbal hints that might carry a bit more weight?
Well, one concept that comes up is non-congruent gestures.
Non-congruent. You mean when the body language doesn't match the words?
Exactly. Like the classic example, saying yes, but shaking your head no at the same time.
Ah, okay, I can see that. That definitely feels like a mismatch, like something's off.
Precisely. And the thinking behind it is kind of fascinating. The idea is that these gestures might be less consciously controlled.
Oh, the body sort of leaks the truth.
That's the theory, yeah. It's like the body is operating on a slightly different track than the deliberate speech. Some sources even call these gestures potential truth tellers.
That makes intuitive sense. Your subconscious giving you away. What about some other common ideas, like covering the mouth or fidgeting? Any truth there?
Well, covering the mouth or eyes could be a sign someone's trying to hide the lie, or maybe their own reaction to it.
Almost like blocking it out.
Possibly. There's even a suggestion about someone completely closing their eyes during a lie, especially if it's just a simple question, like a momentary shutdown.
Huh. Weird. And the fidgeting, is that just nerves?
It's often seen as an anxiety response, yeah. One idea mentioned is that blood might withdraw from the hands and feet under stress, leading to that kind of nervous energy, tapping fingers, shifting around.
And pointing fingers, literally or, figuratively.
That can sometimes be an attempt to deflect, to shift the focus and the blame away from themselves, redirecting the attention.
Right. So we have these potential hints,
Yeah.
little discrepancies, but it sounds like we have to be super careful not to just grab one sign and run with it.
Oh, absolutely. That's crucial. Body language is powerful, no doubt. It can totally contradict what someone's saying, and often we believe the nonverbal cues more.
Yeah, I felt that.
But it's complex. There are different roles body language plays, like repeating words, contradicting them, substituting for them, complementing them, even accenting parts of what's said.
So a nod reinforces a yes, but maybe a tense posture completely undermines it.
Exactly. And you really can't interpret just one gesture in isolation. You need to look at the whole cluster, posture, gestures, face, voice, everything to get a real sense.
The whole picture,
Yeah.
not just one piece.
Right. And then there's culture, too. A gesture like the OK sign means totally different things in different places.
Oh, yeah, good point. So there's no universal dictionary for lying gestures.
Definitely not. And we haven't even talked much about the voice itself. The tone, the pace, the volume, that carries so much emotional information.
It really does. How someone says something can change the meaning completely. Sarcasm, anger, nervousness, it's all in the sound.
Precisely. Both the tone and things like hesitation or speed can convey a lot about someone's state of mind and intentions.
Okay, this is already making me rethink things. It's way more intricate than just looking for shifty eyes, which brings us to emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
EQ. How does that fit in?
Right, EQ. Basically, it's the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and also understand and respond to the emotions of others.
And there are different parts to it.
Yeah, generally seen as 4 key skills. Self-awareness, knowing your own emotions. Self-management, controlling your impulses, managing your feelings. Social awareness, empathy, understanding others. And relationship management, handling interactions well.
So being more tuned into your own feelings could actually help you read other people better.
That's a really important point. Being mindful of your own emotional state helps you pick up on those subtle nonverbal signals from others more effectively. Well, if you're aware of your own biases or your own mood, you're less likely to project them onto the other person. And self-awareness helps you notice that gut feeling when something seems off, maybe prompting you to pay closer attention.
Okay, I see. And empathy helps you kind of understand where they might be coming from emotionally.
Exactly. It allows you to consider their feelings without necessarily just accepting everything they say at face value if other signals seem contradictory.
But even if you have really high EQ, it's not like you suddenly become a human lie detector, is it?
No, definitely not. That's a key finding. Even people with high emotional intelligence can still struggle to tell if a specific story is deceptive. Being good with emotions doesn't automatically mean you can spot every lie.
So it's more about being better attuned to those mismatches, when the words and the body language or tone just don't line up.
Exactly that. Paying attention to those inconsistencies, that feeling that something's not quite congruent, that's where EQ can be really valuable in these situations.
Okay, so we've got the science, the theory. Well, what about real life? That Reddit thread you mentioned about the person asking for petrol money, that felt very real.
It's such a common scenario, isn't it? And the reactions on that thread really showed the whole range of how people approach it.
Yeah, some people were immediately suspicious. Others were more cautious, but willing to help.
You saw people suggesting practical things like offering to go with them to the petrol station, or checking the petrol tank themselves, offering a lift instead of cash.
Trying to verify the story somehow.
Right, which speaks to that desire to know the truth. But even then, some people shared stories where they did try to verify things.
Like the person who checked the university details called the father.
Exactly. And they still felt afterwards like they might have been scammed. There was still that uncertainty.
That story really stuck with me. Doing all the right things to check and still not being sure. And you could feel that emotional conflict too, that pull to want to help someone who seems genuinely stuck.
It just perfectly illustrates the core problem, doesn't it? How difficult it actually is to be certain about deception, even when you're actively looking for clues and trying to verify.
It really does. And it makes you think about trust, too, especially with strangers. When you offer help, there's an element of trust involved, isn't there?
Absolutely. And there's research on gratitude suggesting it can help build that trust and encourage reciprocal altruism, helping each other out.
So giving help even without expecting something back right away, it's like extending a basic level of trust, linked to empathy.
Kind of like a small social investment, you could say, a leap of faith, as you put it earlier.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, a lack of expressed gratitude can sometimes feel like a negative signal in an interaction, can't it? Though that's also complex.
True. But then there's the other side, the really important part. What if someone genuinely needs help? How do we switch from looking for lies to recognizing real distress?
That's a vital question. And there are resources that offer guidance on this. It often comes down to looking for broader patterns of change, not just focusing on one interaction or one story.
Patterns of change. Like how?
Changes in their usual behavior. Maybe they become withdrawn, stop taking care of themselves like they used to, seem more impulsive or reckless.
Okay, so things that suggest a bigger picture issue, not just a one-off fib.
Exactly. And changes in their emotional state, too. Maybe being fearful more often, seeming unusually anxious or irritable, having a consistently low mood over time, or even big shifts in how they're doing at work or study.
It's about seeing a constellation of signs then, not just one thing.
Precisely. Observing changes over time rather than making a snap judgment.
And if you do see those signs in someone, say, a friend or colleague, what's the advice then?
The guidance is generally to reach out, to listen non-judgmentally, ask open-ended questions like, how are things going? Or, I've noticed you seem a bit down lately. Is everything okay?
Give them space to talk.
Yes, and validate their feelings. Let them know it's okay to feel that way. And maybe gently suggest resources or support options if it seems appropriate.
But also look at yourself in the process, right?
Definitely. Supporting someone can be demanding, so being mindful of your own well-being is crucial too.
Wow. Okay. This has been a really, really illuminating deep dive. So if we boil it all down, what are the main takeaways for you?
Well, first, relying on those classic nonverbal lie cues, eye contact. Fidgeting, it's just not reliable according to the science. They're faint clues at best.
Right. No magic signs.
Second, emotional intelligence is helpful for understanding people overall and for noticing inconsistencies, but it doesn't make you a mind reader or a perfect lie detector.
Still hard work involved.
Definitely. And third, when you're concerned someone genuinely needs help, look for those broader patterns of change, behavior, mood, functioning, not just a single incident.
So, bottom line, there's no foolproof method, no secret code to instantly know if someone's lying or genuinely needs help.
Exactly. It really comes down to a combination of awareness, trying to read the whole situation, using your empathy, but also applying some critical thinking.
Which leaves me, and probably you listening, with a really big question, doesn't it? How do we actually do that? How do we balance that necessary healthy skepticism, because deception does exist, with our basic human desire to connect and to help others when they might genuinely need it? Where's that line?
That's the tightrope, isn't it?
Yeah. And what are the ethics involved when we're trying to figure out if someone's being truthful? It feels like a constant balancing act.
It absolutely is. And hopefully this discussion, drawing on all that research and those real-world examples, gives you a more informed place to start thinking about it.
Definitely food for thought. Maybe exploring some of those resources we touched on could offer even more perspectives for you to consider.
And here wraps the episode of the Grace Totem podcast. If you've liked the content, please make sure you drop that like button. Stay tuned with us as we deep dive into the topics, unpacking and unraveling them by subscribing to our channel and clicking on the bell icon so that you get notified when we post new content. Thank you for listening to us.